Yeah.
Happy Mother's Day, everybody. I am really happy to see you. I miss you terribly. We keep on talking during our staff meetings about when we're getting back together and what it's going to look like. And it makes me super excited to be able to teach to you in the classroom. So get ready. It's coming. I know that soon we will be together again, but today we are going to teach on forgiveness. Last week we talked about being the best that we could be for Jesus. And the week before that, I think we talked about, what was it? Does anybody remember? What did we talk about? Was it when we were frightened? No. Was it when we, maybe you should write in the comments what we've been teaching on. Maybe you can help me, because I think that today we're going to talk about something else that's really helpful, and that is how to forgive others and how to accept forgiveness. And so we have two books today. One, I was going to teach on something else, but every time I turned around, Zacchaeus came back. It was Zacchaeus. The only thing, my lesson plan disappeared, and all of a sudden I found Zacchaeus again. I picked it up a little bit later, and I went to look for something else to email to your parents, and Zacchaeus came up again. And then I watched Pastor Chris, and Pastor Chris said, doesn't have to be flashy, doesn't have to be grand, it just has to be the best you can do, and it has to be what Jesus wants. And I thought, I guess someone's telling me that we're doing Zacchaeus this morning. So changed everything around, brought in something else, but I still kept our forgiveness crowns, which I'm going to show you how we're going to use later, which was for our forgiveness. But today we're going to start. I brought my friends back. It had been a couple weeks. I thought about at the last minute making Play-Doh trees and craziness, and I thought, it's Mother's Day, let's just go with our friends. So here today, this is going to be Zacchaeus. Now, a long time ago, when Jesus was alive, and I'm going to bring my book up here so you can look at the story. When Jesus lived on earth, the people in Israel had to pay taxes. Now, this is money. And first of all, they didn't like to pay money to the Romans. And second of all, paying taxes to Rome reminded them that they had less money to pay on groceries and on food for their children and clothes and all the other things that we have to pay for. And it reminded them how unhappy they were that the Romans were in charge of them. They didn't like for other people to be in charge. But one man was happy about paying taxes, and that is our friend here. His name was Zacchaeus. And not only was he a tax collector, but he took more than his fair share. Now the people, all of our people here, got really angry, and they didn't like Zacchaeus because of what he was doing. So Zacchaeus had a big house, and he was pretty wealthy because he took lots and lots of money. Now, the one thing he didn't have was any friends, because no one liked him. So, even though he was rich and he had everything he wanted, he still wasn't happy. Now, this sounds like a lot of people. When they don't have Jesus, they're not as happy as they would be otherwise. But one day, Jesus was coming to town where Zacchaeus lived, and the crowds lined our street here. Look at all where they're lining the street. And they all wanted to see Jesus. Now, Zacchaeus, can you see him back here? He's hiding way back here. Even if he jumps, he really can't see very much. So, Zacchaeus had a bright idea. And that was, he was going to run ahead of everyone and climb the tree. So Zacchaeus climbed a tree, and when Jesus came by, an amazing thing happened. It surprised Zacchaeus, and it surprised all these people too. When Jesus came by, and we'll just pretend one of these is Jesus. Let's choose this one. Now, let's choose this one. When Jesus came by with his followers, he stopped right in front of Zacchaeus' tree, and he told Zacchaeus to come down. Now, many of us have heard the story. Zacchaeus was a wee little man, and a wee little man was he. He climbed up in a sycamore tree, the Lord he wanted to see. And when Jesus came by, now that's a song, but it doesn't tell the rest of the story. I mean, it does, but the story here is really what happened next. Jesus wanted to be Zacchaeus' friend. Amazing. Now, all these people didn't like Zacchaeus whatsoever. He took their money. He wasn't kind. He took more than his fair share. He had a lot, and he didn't give to others. But what happens next is amazing. Now, Jesus says to Zacchaeus, I want to come to your house today. And so the two of them and his followers went away. Even Jesus' disciples didn't understand. But when Zacchaeus said, I lost my place. Hold on a second. Now, Zacchaeus said, I want to give half of everything I have to poor people. Now, he had a lot of money. He was very wealthy. But now he's saying he's changing because he met Jesus. He wants to give half of all of his wealth to poor people. He also said that all the people over here that he had wronged or cheated and took their money, extra money, he was going to give them back not just what he owed them, but 4 times more. So instead of just having $1, they would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's like saying, okay, your friend took your 1 lollipop, but instead your friend gave you back 5 lollipops. Now that's a big deal. And that was a big deal. And what it was showing was that Zacchaeus changed because of his friendship with Jesus. It also said that he understood that just saying I'm sorry isn't enough. Saying I'm sorry when you have a fight just isn't enough. You have to like different and better. And that's the amazing story. It's not just our coloring sheet here where Zacchaeus is in the tree. I mean, this is in a tree, and we can all relate to climbing up in a tree to see Jesus. But what's really different was how Zacchaeus changed. Now, do you remember the story? How did Zacchaeus change? Did he keep all the money? Nope. He gave back half to the poor, and he gave 4 times more back to his friends. So here I sent, with your packets this week, I sent a very fun craft project. Here it shows Zacchaeus in a tree, and it shows Zacchaeus going home and talking to Jesus and changing. It shows the people. So it's pretty simple. You fold, and you cut, and you cut. You cut it on these lines. The other thing I wanted to make sure that you had, by the way, Landon, you did a great job at posting a picture again. I recommend everybody else post our picture. Here is our other coloring sheet for the day, and I started to cut already. Here it goes. You basically cut off this portion. Here we go. You cut away this portion. It's our forgiveness brown. You cut away this portion. You cut away this portion. So what you're going to end up with, here we go. See how well I can do this? Of the back and the front of the crown, you can tape it together. Kind of need to cut off this portion so I'm on the bottom. There we go. 1, 2, 3. There you go. And you can tape or staple these together. Now, this is a fun project because it's a crown, but what is this card? It says, God wants me to forgive others. So, I am going to tell your parents that if they see you forgiving others, because that's really what we want to hear today, that you get to walk around with your crown on, because it shows that you were forgiving others. Take a picture with your crown on when you've been really good in forgiving others. Now, I have really enjoyed this week. Zacchaeus in the Bible are real. They happened. They're God's plan. They knew that He wants us to know the story, obviously, because I kept on getting it in my head. But also, I like, and I've been showing you the Berenstain Bears, because for every occasion there is a Berenstain Bear story, and my children love them. Now, this one is, might remind you, Berenstain Bears get in a fight. And what they do is not very nice. To greet the day, and the mockingbird sang its copycat songs outside and upstairs, windows of the bear's treehouse. And inside the treehouse, Brother and Sister Bear would wake up. Okay. Brother and sister usually got along very well. They took turns nicely in the bathroom. They said please and thank you at breakfast, They often sat together on the school bus, and after school they worked together happily on their special project, their own backyard tree house. But one gray morning, brother and sister didn't get along well at all. Maybe it was the weather, maybe it was the mockingbird slept late, but whatever it was, brother and sister bear got into a big fight. Now sister bear opened her eyes and stretched, and she dangled her legs over the edge of the bed, right in brother bear's face. And she didn't do it to be rude. It was just one of those things that happen with bunk beds and with brothers and sisters, also with friends. But that morning, brother was not in a very good mood. Sister, he shouted, get your dopey feet out of my face. My feet aren't dopey, and they're not in your face, she shouted back. Get your dopey face out of my face, snarled brother. Now they're calling names. Be quiet, snapped sister, and before brother could answer, he skipped into the bathroom. Before brother could answer, she skipped into the bathroom ahead of him. She took a very long time, on purpose, brushing her teeth, washing up, brushing her fur. You better come out of that bathroom, shouted brother, banging on the door. Brother bear, said Papa, coming out of his room. You know better than to shout at your sister, but she's taking too long, complained brother. And she's doing it on purpose. Does this sound familiar? I mean, it might not be the bunk beds, but have you guys ever heard the shouting in your house? And the fighting, the name calling? I have children. I know what it sounds like. When brothers raised his fist to bang on the door again, it opened up, and out came sister, all spruced up. Good morning, Papa, she said, nice as you please. Grrr, sounded brother. Now, brother and sister didn't say please and thank you that morning at breakfast because they weren't speaking to each other. And they didn't sit together on the bus. And sister sat in front, and brother sat in the back. That afternoon, they made a line down the middle of the treehouse to show whose half was whose. And it wasn't much fun sitting up there in their treehouse not speaking, especially when it began to rain hard. Later that night, they kept on being mean and taking back things they usually shared. Oh my goodness, they were sharing. This is a secret to what we were learning about in the weeks past. Sister took back her modeling clay what brother had made into dinosaurs and rolled it into one big lump. And brother put back his trucks and planes and put them on the top shelf where sister couldn't reach them. They got so angry they forgot they weren't speaking to each other and began shouting at each other even louder than before. And when Papa lost his temper, he began getting louder and louder so they could hear him. The neighbors didn't know what was worse, the big storm or the racket coming from the bear's house. Mama had quite enough, and she put 2 fingers to her mouth and whistled very loudly. Papa and the cubs were surprised that they stopped shouting. I didn't know that you like that, said sister. Well, I can, and I also will tell you, Mama said sternly, that I've had quite enough of this foolish. Why, I doubt you two even remember what you're fighting about. The cubs tried to remember, but they couldn't. Now, Mama took the cubs into her lap. Everybody gets into an argument once in a while, she said, even folks who love each other very much. Now, you and I don't have arguments, said Papa. Oh, yes, we do, said Mama. No, we don't, argued Papa. We're having one right now, said Mama, and whether or not we have, we're having one right now, said Mama, about whether or not we have arguments. While Papa thought that one over, Mama went on to say, an occasional arguments are part of living together. I don't mean, and after a while, it's all over. Like the storm, asked sister? Into the clouds. Yes, said Mama. Like the storm. Look, said Papa. The sun shining on the last of the rain had made a rainbow. Now, the rainbow is something very beautiful that happens after a storm. Looking at me like making up after a big fight, sort of, said Papa. So brother and sister bear hugged and made up and got along beautifully until the next time, at least. Now, to me, this was a really long book about fighting. And I kept on thinking, if they would have just forgiven each other at any point in time and learned what Zacchaeus learned was that forgiveness was so very important. If they would have said, I'm sorry, and would have done something nice to make up for it, it would have been a completely, the storm would have passed so much quicker. And sometimes we forget the lessons that we learn in the Bible, which are very important, and we keep on arguing and fighting and trying to just be right. In my house, being right is a big deal. Now, Jesus never wanted to be right. Jesus was right, but he forgave everyone. Jesus was so not concerned about being the best and the greatest that he washed his servants' feet. He wanted the disciples to know that he was there to serve. And if we all walked through this life remembering that we were here to serve others and that we were here to be the salt and the light that Pastor Chris was talking about, there would be a lot less arguments and a lot less fighting and a lot less forgiveness. Now, I love bubbles. I think bubbles are super fun. And bubbles are like feelings. I want you guys to watch something. The wind is blowing over there. So let's see, what kind of, ooh, I have a heart. That's probably a perfect bubble. Now, so emotions and feelings are a lot like bubbles. Sometimes they're really big. They're really big emotions. But the truth is, eventually, we can get really mad, and the more air we blow into it, we'll see if I can do that again, really big. The more air I can blow into it, the bigger, and then they're like that. Feelings pop and go away. Feelings are just the thing that passes. Your family, your friends, they're more important than the feelings. They pop, but you don't want to pop all over your family. So if you could just forgive and love them, and remember that Jesus loves you so much he wants you to be your friend, and he will always forgive you, well, that is the best gift we can get from anyone. Because Jesus is always our friend, and he always loves us. Have a wonderful Mother's Day. Show love to your mama. Be kind. Say nice words. Do nice things. And have a fantastic Mother's Day.